Welcome, Amplify You families. Michelle Abraham here, your host, again with an awesome interview. Today, we're doing a behind the mic interview with Larissa Russell. Larissa is such a cool person. I met her a little while ago. I got to be on a Facebook Live sharing about my why. She just recently wrote a book with a bunch of other ladies called The Power of Why. And I love what she's up to in this world. It's such a cool thing to be able to be a best-selling author, right? Not only is she a best-selling author, she's an entrepreneur, speaker, she's an artist, an educator, creativity coach, and healer. Larissa, you are everything. She is the founder of Creative You, an online coaching program and platform that helps women step into their authenticity and with the help of creativity, which I really love. We're going to talk about that some more. Larissa is also the founder of Queer Voicez, which is a nonprofit organization which shares LGBTQ stories to help LGBTQ youth and let them know that they're not alone, which I love that. It's so cool. And Larissa is blessed to work with women who are ready to make a change in their lives. So I love what you're about to. She is from Edmonton, Alberta, and she loves traveling and so many adventures around the world like I do. We share that as well. So Larissa, welcome to the show. So happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. So let's tell everyone, first of all, what's the name of your podcast?
Creative Soul Healing.
Creative Soul Healing. Nice.
Creative Soul Healing. So I interview creatives, healers, and people who have used creativity in their healing.
Love that. The Creative Soul Healing is really a neat name. I love that idea. And of course, you're bringing in your creativity and you're a multi-passionate, faceted lady. So I love that you bring all those things together. So tell us a little bit about the show and what do you do on the show?
So yes, I interview creatives, so people who use creativity in their work every day or who do different creative endeavors. I interview different healers because there's so many different healing modalities, but then also people who have used creativity in their healing because it's so important. Creativity is in everything we do, but if we can put some intention behind it, it can really do a lot of good for us.
I love that. What makes it so important for healing with creativity? Do you know?
Well, it's different for everyone. Like there's different things, but it's a gentler way of unlocking some of our blocks and the stories we tell ourselves. And then if we're really consumed with a physical illness or something like that, it can really just get us out of our head and allow us to not think so much about what we're in the middle of.
Yeah, that's really powerful. I really, my mom and I went to this program many, many years ago, and it was a meditation program. But what I loved about it is that we would do a meditation, and then at the end of the meditation, it was about 20 minutes long, she would then give us some sort of artistic material, and then we would have to create something from it. And so it's usually related to the meditation. So it was like pastels one week, charcoal the next, it was paints another. It was really cool. It was one of my favorite creativity things that I've ever done. I think that was really cool. You see the power of that for sure.
Yeah. And I fully, embrace any of those types of things. And I even have a meditation and journaling class that I do every single morning with a group of ladies. And it's just so powerful. And then I do many different healing, creative healing practices on YouTube and stuff too.
I love that. So what's your favorite modality?
For myself, it's probably writing for healing, right? For healing, I would say writing. I journal every day, and that's super important to me. But just for getting out of my head, it would be painting. I'm an abstract painter, and to get out of my head, I just go and put paint on canvas and smear it around and make a mess and just really enjoy that.
Is that your work of art in the background there? That's beautiful.
Yes, yes it is. I was like, what's behind me? Yes, it is.
For those of you that are just listening to this podcast, she's got a beautiful, it's gold and blue, abstract looking painting in the background. So the artist behind that. Amazing. And so now you and a bunch of women got together this year to create the Power of Why book. So tell us a little bit about that. What inspired that?
It's really funny because I've learned to say yes to things, right? And so Purvi Tantia, she is the producer of the book. It was her idea. And she had invited me to a summit, a business summit earlier in the year. And just, I was part of that and was talking about retreats and summits and putting them on and things. And then she just put out a call like, who wants to write a book? And I'm like, well, I have books, but, yeah, let's. And then we got together and she told us the idea behind it. And the power of why is about why we start our businesses and how we can empower women to start their own businesses or start their own projects or do their own thing. And it just really resonated with me. And the ladies that I have been working with on this book, it's actually out now. And we hit the international best-selling list. So Australia, UK, US, Canada, and India. Amazing. So that's pretty amazing. But they've been amazing women to work with, and we've done other projects now together, and we're doing other things together. So yeah, it's been so rewarding. And just by saying yes to one thing and then another thing and then.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how you guys were together on a summit and then it turned into another project, which turns into another project. Very cool. And, one of the things that I think is really great about this content producing that we're doing like currently is that it allows people to share their story, and it allows you to then take that story and turn it into you put it into a book or turn it into all sorts of other different things, which is really cool. So what inspired you to start your podcast?
I think it was just reaching more people and inspiring more people with creativity and healing, because I think it's so important. And I felt like, I teach classes and I now have a YouTube channel. The podcast came first, but it was just about reaching more people. And it seemed like such a gentle way to reach people, right? Like you just listen to what's going on and you can choose or not choose to listen. I do also put it on YouTube so that people can watch, but it's just us sitting there. So it's not that exciting. But if you want to see us, you want to see what we look like, you can do that. But yeah, it's just to reach people and let them know there are other ways of healing, right? There are other ways to heal.
And does that come from a story? Like what's made you so passionate about that?
Oh, yeah. Because, healing with creativity is how I got out of my own way, if you will. So a few years back, I've suffered from depression on and off for many years, basically since, probably 30 years, because with my kids, postpartum depression and things like that. And a few years ago, I had a really bad bout of depression. I was in a not so great for me relationship. I was in a horrible job. All of the things, there was nothing in alignment in my life. I was not living an authentic life. And the system just really let me down. So the medical system, work, like everything, nothing was in my favor and nothing helped me get better, to the point where I was suicidal and I needed to, honestly, the only thing that stopped me is I was too tired. I was too tired, literally too tired to kill myself. And then I just got really angry. I got really angry at the system. I got really angry at my work and at my doctor and just all of these things. And I thought, I can't keep doing this. I cannot keep doing this. I have to make a change. And I started writing. So I started journaling, and then I started painting again. And then I just started adding new things. And it just was, it took time. I found a new doctor. I found a new therapist. I found a new job. I did all of those things to make changes. But the creativity allowed me to start making those changes. And so that was huge because the system completely let me down. Our mental health resources are so limited. And so you need to find other ways to look after yourself. And so creativity was my way. And so now I use that to help other women to find their way, because there's so many people who suffer from depression or anxiety or just overwhelm, just the overwhelm of every day. And if you can just take some time out, creativity is a gentle way to do that. So even whether it's journaling or coloring or something like that, or a different project because we have lots of different projects that we use, but yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, and just, your healing journey, it's inspired you then to have a whole business around helping other
Mhm.
people do that. I think that's really cool because it's such a tricky spot that I think women entrepreneurs are in, because not only are we in a business, that a business has its roller coasters of rides and pressure and overwhelm, but also then we have to wear many other hats in our lives, and doing it all together. The cookie can easily crumble many times over and over. And, I've seen it in my own businesses where it just didn't work. I couldn't manage both. One had to go. It
Mhm.
can be the kids, it could be the husbands that had to be the business at the time. So, it's just a lot of pressure for women. So this is a really great support for women
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, especially, to I feel like when we're in business, sometimes too, we're in that little bit of that masculine kind of energy. And I think
Mhm.
moving back into the creative stuff allows us to be in more of our feminine energy. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And when I first started doing this, I was working with a lot of women who were in business, because those mindset blocks and things like that that you
Mhm.
have, that you need to get through. And we live in a very masculine world, and so the energy that's at us when we're in a job tends to be very masculine, like very rigid, and you have to do things at a certain time, and you get up at 5 a.m. and you do your workout, and you do, then you go to work, and then it, and for women that doesn't usually work.
Mhm.
Some people make that work, but for women, we have the kids, and we might have a parent we're looking after, and we're trying to run a business, or we're working while we're trying to build a business, and different things like that. And we need to be more flexible, and we need to be able to say no when it's important for us to say no. That's one of
Mhm.
the first things I work with my women on,
Mhm.
is learning to say no, and what you can say no to, right? And
Yeah.
there's a lot you can say no to.
Yeah, I bet. Without offending anyone. Like, here comes my pleaser in there. Like,
Yeah.
you want to say no, but like still be nice about it. And yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
have these saboteurs that, like, whether it's, trying to be that hyperachiever or that people pleaser or whatever, that's at our own detriment. Something that I'm working on myself right now in my business is the focus has been on two little kids and a business for the last few years, which doesn't leave much left for me. So,
Hmm.
my health has suffered from it. So, it's hard to serve from an empty cup. So filling myself back up and doing a lot more, meditation, spiritual work, is so much creativity. I love that creativity. I got to get back into journaling or painting or something, because I think that just fills us up a little bit more too. We're spending that personal time. I always laughed at the people who would say, okay, well, yeah, we were talking about the 5 o'clock routine. Well,
Yeah.
what was the book that, it was not the 5 minute miracle. It was oh gosh, what was it
It's the
again?
5 a.m.
The
club.
5 a.m. club. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm like, how do you do that with kids? You can't, like, because you got to get them. As soon as they hear you up, they get up too. And it's like, I keep trying to like creep downstairs. No, does not work. It was like, so, that was clearly created by a guy.
Yeah.
Just
Who
whatever.
has nothing to worry about but himself. But yes,
Nothing else going on at 5 a.m. But for moms, it's not the reality. So
that's right.
coming up with something that works for moms is something that I've seen. Not, it's a work in progress, and I think it has to be super individualized and really a personal path. But I love like tapping into your creativity and find something that you enjoy doing. So it's not like it's not effort. It's effortless then, right? So when you love doing something, you're more likely to do it, right?
Yeah,
And not just business stuff. Because I always like,
exactly.
oh, we're gonna do business though, because I love doing it. It's just fun. But yeah, it's like the personal stuff too, and the work that we need to do to help us grow better and everything that we're doing. I think is so important. Do you have any advice for maybe our listeners out there that are, thinking about, well, one, we have some podcasters out there that are thinking about starting a podcast. Maybe listening to this, they might have some mind blocks that are popping up. So, what's some strategies you can use using your brilliance to help them break through those blocks?
I think one of the big things is just do it, right? Like I'm a planner, and I like to learn as much about things as possible. And there's so much conflicting information out there. When I finally just did it, it all worked out, right? And no, I didn't have the, $2,000 mic or the, the soundboard or the things like that. I had a lapel mic, my laptop, and I just did it. And it's worked out just fine for me, right? And I think one of the things we do as women is we have to have all the things perfect, right? Mm-hmm. And there is no such thing as perfect. But we're always striving for that perfection because of what we've been taught. And so if we can just take a step out of that and allow ourselves to be imperfectly perfect, right? So just to move forward without that perfection, because you will never achieve it, and you will make yourself right loopy trying to achieve it. And so, yeah, I would just say, just do it. Just step out of your comfort zone.
I wish you could have been that voice in my head when I was looking at starting podcasting, because I was like, I know what I'm going to talk about. Nobody's going to listen. And I thought about it for like 5 years before we actually did it. And now it's funny because in Amplify, actually I was saying in our business, if you're not embarrassed by your first few episodes, you waited too long to get it out there. Just do it.
So it's true. Just do it.
Yeah. And I love that, because that's also just not just for podcasting, but for people thinking about starting a business or unhappy in what they're doing. I mean, I kind of like think this whole pandemic that we're in right now is giving people that permission to like leave, like, try something different, or to, pivot. Like, if you don't like what you're doing, this is a perfect opportunity. Jump ship and try something different.
Exactly.
And exactly. I think good. Like it's, there's definitely some good that's come out of this for sure. Gosh. And I mean, we're Canadian. We haven't been nearly as affected as some of the rest of the world, but there's light in all of this for everyone. I think it's, when else is the whole world going to be on pause so that you can really reevaluate what you're doing in your life?
It's when have we been given this gift? And I think the pandemic is horrible in a lot of ways, and we've lost a lot of people, and but I also do agree with you that this has given a pause to the world, and it's so necessary. And, for people to recognize where they stand in things. And I think it's caused a lot of stress for some people because they don't know where they fit now that they are maybe at home or things have changed. But if you can step out of that fear of everything and start to look at where you can make change, I think, the world is your oyster. Is that what they say?
That's one of my favorite quotes. The world is your oyster. Now go find your pearl.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I love that. I've always led my life with that little quote. I love it. Actually, I think my parents wrote it in the yearbook when I was graduating under my baby picture. That was in there. World is your oyster. It's true. I think you're absolutely right about that. And I think, having the courage and confidence to step into something that you're really really interested in or excited about, it's just going to make the difference in everything in your life, and the money will flow, right? One thing that I'm pivoted since the pandemic in our business here, some of you might notice we're talking a little bit more spiritually today and a little bit more open to talking about, our mental health and our well-being and stuff. And that's coming from my own journey, where realizing that our business where it was right now is, we attract a lot of the spiritual teachers and healers out there. And so really opening up that conversation, and me having to do a lot of that work myself so that I can support and work with people like that. So, I think it's great. I think having a podcast allows you to go on your own spiritual journey, doesn't it? Because
true.
You're gonna bust through all your myths and mind blocks, and then you got to put your voice out there in the world like you have, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's been the thing that has been the most surprisingly good things that's come out of being a podcaster for you?
The amazing people I've met. Right. So I have met some amazing people doing the podcast and built relationships with them and done other work with them. And some just to hear their story has been so rewarding. So I think the people has been the best part of it. And then getting my message out there, of course, right? Because then people, and it always shocks me, oh, you listen to my podcast? That's cool. I mean, I guess that's the idea, is that you want people to listen.
It's also
It's like, oh,
therapeutic just for us to talk to our own screens, right?
that's right.
What do you love about helping people get their message out there? Because that's something you and I share about being passionate about.
I think it's so important because everybody has something to share.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't realize they have something to share, or they don't recognize that they have something to share. And that's a self-value
Mm-hmm.
thing. And as you learn to step into your own value, you can start to recognize what you have to share. And we can learn so much from people. I mean, many many years ago now we've given it up to Hollywood to do all our stories for us, but storytelling was so important, and you'd listen to the elders
Mm-hmm.
and what they had been through, and learn their wisdom and learn their ways, and and that was continued on. And then we sort of at some point decided, oh well, we'll let these people, these Hollywood people, tell the stories, and we'll just be, because we're not good enough, right? And so as we learn to step into our own self-value, we can start to recognize what we have to offer. And people are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many, like, what people do, right? Even if it's a, I don't know, like cooking. Cooking's not my thing, but I have some great people that I've met who do cooking and the elaborate things they do, or just the really comfort meals they do with healthy food or different things like that. Creativity is in everything we do. So I
Mm-hmm.
interview a lot of people, but it allows, when we amplify our message, as you say,
Mm-hmm.
um, it sort of brings the world together. And I think that's so important.
Mm.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I love about it is, like you mentioned, you shared your story where you were in a dark place. And by you sharing that, you're going to inspire someone else. Like, we don't know who's
Mm-hmm.
listening. That can make the difference in someone else's life of whether they're going to live and they're going to turn to start journaling, like you said that you did, and maybe inspire them to change their life. And, I think everyone has a message. Everyone has a voice that needs to be heard out there, and it's time for us all to step up and share that. If anything, this pandemic has really shown me that hundreds and hundreds of people have started podcasts, and we've been super busy, blessed to be super busy, because there's so many more people wanting to share their message, which I love. And I think this has been a
Mm-hmm.
great awakening for some of those voices that were a little afraid to be heard. Was there any fears like that you went through when you were starting your podcast, or were you just like, nope, I know I have to do this, hit record and go?
No, I was terrified. I've always avoided the camera, right? And so my brother is a model and a dancer, and has always been in front of the camera, and he's beautiful. So I have always avoided the camera for a number of reasons, but that's one of the biggest ones. And so I had to like, just even watch myself, even if it was just audio, right? Like, to watch yourself as you're recording. That was huge, right? I had to really work on that. So that was a big one for me. I have to just admit, I did do some hypnotherapy around it, because it was so big.
Good.
It was so big, right? I avoided the camera so much, but I did what I needed to do, because I knew that was a big part of this. It was a big part, was to get on Zoom with people around the world and show my face. And
Yeah.
so,
We
yeah,
can't
that
see
was
each other in
huge.
person anymore. This is like how we have to do business. So there's no room to be afraid of the camera anymore, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and when you're talking to someone in person, you don't see yourself. You only
Yeah.
see them.
Yeah.
And so it's a completely different dynamic. And it's very distracting to see yourself. And if you're really caught up in what you look like or sound like, and yeah, so I did do a little bit of hypnotherapy and a lot of practice to do it. But yes, now I'm whatever.
Yeah, now it's like nothing, right? Which I
Yeah.
love. Like, that is a great lesson in itself there, guys. Like, if listening out there, this is something that no matter what it is, whether it's painting or writing or being on the camera or being on stage or having a microphone in front of your face, um, just practice, and just that forward movement is going to get easier and easier and easier, to a point where now it's like, Not a big deal. I didn't even tell you we were going to be on camera. You're like, great, okay, good. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
come a long way, apparently.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, that's awesome. I used to shy away from the camera too, and Zoom kind of helped me kick that in the can too. So
Yeah.
there was no hiding on Zoom. Awesome. Well, Larissa, it's been so great to chat with you. You guys, make sure you go and listen to her podcast. Where can we find your podcast?
We're on all the platforms like Spotify, iTunes, all of that. Creative Soul Healing. And yeah, so you can find it there. Or you can go to our website, creativeu, that's the letter u.ca.
Great. The Creative Soul Healing, guys, or creativeu.ca. We'll put that in the show notes as well. And Larissa, it's been so great to chat with you. Is there anywhere else on social media you want us to connect with you?
We're on Facebook and Instagram as well, creativeu.ca. And Pinterest. I keep forgetting about Pinterest. And yeah, we've got some great stuff on Pinterest, actually. So
you growing your podcast through Pinterest?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to bring you on the Profitable Podcaster now. I'm going to talk about Pinterest because something that I know nothing about, and I've been hearing people have been having huge success marketing their podcast. In fact, one of our clients says she gets 300 opt-ins a month from Pinterest.
Yeah, I believe that. I haven't honestly checked our numbers because we only started maybe a month or so ago putting them up, but we do have our back episodes on there because we're on episode, I think we're releasing episode 38 or 9 this week. Cool. And so, yeah, but we only maybe a month or two started actually putting them on Pinterest. But yes, I've noticed a big difference.
Awesome. I think we're going to do a Pinterest panel on our the Profitable Podcaster podcast. I think that would be cool. Amazing. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Larissa. We look forward to speaking to you again soon. And for all you guys listening out there, Amplify You, if you're afraid to put your message out there, now is your time. Step up. Let your light shine, and we want to hear your message. So leave us a note on Facebook. Leave us a review. Love to hear from you. What do you want to hear more of? And until next time, be amazing.